Hi, this is Sven at Manticore Arms, and today we are going to show you the installation of the AUG Cantilever forend. First off, let's go through the components you'll find when you receive your forend. The first portion is the top rail. It's got 37 slots on the top. It's got a pre-installed right side rail with 6 slots on it. It allows you to mount accessories. This is actually a reinforcement rail because of the notch out necessary for the A3 M1 receiver. We don't recommend removing it. I guess theoretically, if you wanted, you can flip it to the other side. Although you'd want to use a Manticore arm switchback charging handle with that, as the stock charging handle would end up with you banging your hands against whatever accessory is mounted there. So we've got that. We've got the forend component right here. It's M-lock. It's got M-lock on all 7 sides. There's your bottom side. There's where your gas adjustment valve goes in the gas piston system. There you go. You'll notice it's actually got a slot through the top here, and there's these 2 little fingers that come out that engages grooves on the top. So it actually slides in. It's not just held by the screws here. The screws are just to tighten it down to the top rail. There you go, all aluminum. And then lastly, you've got 4 screws. They're 832 flathead cap screws to mount this forend, or rather screw it down to those holes right here. We'll explain this in a minute. And then 2 Allen wrenches, a 3/32 Allen wrench that is meant to attach these screws, and then a 4mm Allen wrench, which is meant to remove the screws that hold the existing top rail on. All right, so let's go through how you remove the existing top rail from the gun and then install the AUG Cantilever forend. First off, make sure your gun's clear. This one's clear, obviously. No magazine in there. I've cleared it twice just to make sure off camera. So in case anybody's worried, it's fine. A lot of people, what they do, they'll pull the charging handle back on an AUG and then remove the barrel and then remove the forend. Or I'm sorry, the receiver portion. I actually find it easier to just push your cross bolt through, remove it, and then just pull the whole front end out. Leave our bolt carrier, trigger group, and everything in there. And now you've got the whole receiver with the barrel in it. Then you're going to pull your charging handle back. That's because that little guy engages there. If you don't pull it back, you can't remove the barrel. So we'll just leave him back there. Press on your latch button and rotate the barrel out. Put him down there. So we've got our receiver here. If you flip over the receiver, you will notice 1, 2, and you can't barely see him in there, but trust me, he's in there, a 3rd screw. These all go up through the bottom of the receiver and screw into the top rail. You'll also notice a pinhole here. I think that was intended for a roll pin at some point in some configuration of the AUG A3 M1 life or design cycle. However, I have never seen a roll pin in there. The only reason I point it out is when you remove these 3 screws, if you find the top rail doesn't want to move, just check to make sure there's no roll pin in there, that maybe Steyr changed their mind or somebody else previous to you had put a roll pin in there. So, removing these 3 screws, we're going to take our 4mm wrench, and due to the depth to get in there, we're just going to put it long end down. These 3 screws are often held in by Loctite. Now, they may come loose easy, they may come loose not easy. My suggestion is start here, see if you can get them to move. Now in these have been removed several times, so it's not an issue. It'll come right out, and we'll show you. It's just a metric 5 screw. You can see a little of the remaining light Loctite that's been burned off. If you find these screws are very difficult, the first thing you can do, clamp vice grips on the end of the M4, or if you've got a T-handle M4 Allen wrench, you can put it in there and see if you can turn it counterclockwise to start breaking it loose. Most times it will. In my experience, however, at least on one receiver, they were really in there. So we put some heat with a torch on those 3 screws. There and on the sides a little bit here, just to heat it up to break down the Loctite. Now the one thing I should point out when you do that, remember you've got a plastic handle here. You've got slots here. Don't be an idiot like me when I tried it and blow your propane torch through here to heat it up and have your handle forward or wherever it may be on the gun and, you know, in the back position, and then your flame comes out here and hits the inside of your handle and scorches it and whatever. I recommend just removing the handle altogether if you need to use heat. That gets it out of the way. The receiver's going to get warm because it's aluminum. The heat's going to translate through. It's just best to do that to keep the heat off the plastic. It won't hurt the aluminum. You just need enough heat where you'll see a little puff of smoke, and that's the Loctite letting loose. And then you can start removing the screws. So we got the middle one out. I'm gonna get the front one out here. There you go. And the back one, obviously you got to have the right light, kind of fish down through this hole and get your Allen wrench lined up. Trust me, there's one in there. We'll see it in a minute. This one, or all of them, the easiest way to do it, you can just invert it carefully. Oh, there we go. Throw it out through the hole or just tilt it, it'll come out. So we got those bolts off, and then top rail just comes right off. You can see those 3 holes in there, a little remnant of some Loctite, and the slot in there, and there's where the pin would cross pin through. So also notice you've got essentially a lug interior that fits inside these grooves, this lug up front. Same thing is going to happen with our front rail of how it engages. So we're going to grab our, front rail, our top rail. Our top rail, you'll notice there's the notch there. So we're just gonna drop that guy right on like that, flip him over, grab ourselves a screw to start here. Doesn't really matter what order, just as long as they're nice and snug. There's no need to reapply Loctite. We've never seen one come loose in all the use. This is actually a full auto post sample we use in the shop that's been run hard with a lot of these test rails and production parts on it and these screws. The Loctite's there is probably because Steyr doesn't expect anybody to ever remove anything actually, but it should be fine without it. Last screw, always the tricky one here. There we go. All right, so those guys are on there pretty good. I'll just check them back to front one more time. Give them that last little turn to make sure everything's turned down, and we should be good. So our rail's now mounted. At this point, we can put the receiver and the barrel back in the gun. That's fine. I'll just drop the handle back. Slide in and lock. And make sure our cross bolt's not in the way. And shove the guts back in the gun. There we go. You can see the top rail's on. If you want, you actually can run it without the forend portion. That's fine if you want quick release or, quick removal of the barrel and you just want extended forend. It's totally fine to do that. Doesn't hurt anything. But assuming you bought it so you can have a forend here, we're going to take the forend portion. You can see the grooves I referred to there earlier. And the reason you see 4 holes here is actually you've got 2 holes here and then 2 offset holes. So actually you've got 2 of these holes are for the left side and 2 are for the right, which are slightly offset just so we can get more screw thread depth in there with that rail portion. So it'll slide right on like that. We'll grab our 3/32 wrench. Oh. And thread those guys in. So as I mentioned, these screws don't actually do the load bearing. That's what the rails on the actual forend and the grooves in the top rail are for. Those will help carry the load. These just tighten it to pull those 2 sides tight to remove any movement from the front portion, the forend portion, to guarantee it'll hold 0. go. You can also see the alignment of the side rail there. Gives you a pretty good feel, so if you want a laser or a light or just any other accessory there, it's a good spot for it. And I'm screwing as fast as I can here to get these installed, so we're not just sitting here watching me install 832 flathead screws. All right, last one. So after you've done that, you're all good. The Forend is installed. It's nice and snug, nothing moves. We do get the question sometimes, can you fold the grip all the way up? It does not fold all the way up, but it gets you enough that, you know, for storage purposes, you're there. The reason is when you fold this up, it's literally up against the barrel, so there just wouldn't even be any room for a Forend here. You can get your M-lock wherever you need it. You can adjust your gas valve here just by pressing down and rotating it. And if you need to remove the gas plug itself, you do need to unscrew the Forend and slide it out. To have enough room for us to actually get an M-lock slot on a 16-inch barrel, there's only so much room there, so we gave you room to adjust it. But on the upside, it's not going to fall out and get lost if you open it up in the field. You have to consciously remove the Forend portion. You can actually, because you'll have a shorter wrench, this is a long one I just happen to have for the demonstration, but your wrench will be like a normal 2 3/4 inch, 3/32 wrench. That'll fit right in the buttstock storage of the gun. So you just take the butt plate off, just press it out, throw it in there. So if you're worried about field disassembly of the gun for cleaning, you don't have to. You can take your Allen wrench out of the back, remove the 4 screws on the Forend, slide it off, and then your gas plug and or barrel are easily removable for cleaning in the field. So that is the Manticore Arms AUG Cantilever Forend. If you have any questions, please email us at info@manticorearms, and thanks for watching.